What's up, everybody, and welcome to the ViceCityGamerz podcast. Um, just a couple of dudes that decided to come together and talk a little bit about gaming and have our own little venue where we can do so. You could expect to hear in this episode a little bit about Switch 2 rumors, or the Super Nintendo Switch, a little bit about the Activision Blizzard purchase that was made by Xbox, and get into a little bit about us and ourselves and what we're all about. So stick around if you want to hear about all this. All right. So how about we get into the Super Nintendo Switch coming soon? And we got some rumors dropping.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of speculation talking about backwards compatibility. When do you guys want to start it off and tell me what you guys thinking?
I'm gonna defer to my elders.
Oh,
Go ahead,
who's
Jay.
your elders?
Go ahead,
Oh,
Jay.
us. Okay. All right. So, Switch has been around for a hot minute. We got about 7 years or so now that the Switch has been out there, and they've been saying this whole time that the um, the hardware in it was like from 2015, even though it came out in 2017, and right now you have Tears of the Kingdom and things like that are pushing it to its limits, but it does have good battery life, and clearly it's extremely popular. People are buying this thing like crazy. What do you guys expect from the next Switch? Nintendo always throws these curveballs. They do weird things from the N64 to the Wii and then the Wii U. They've done some weird things. Do you think they're finally finding their place and they're going to kind of stick with things, or are they going to do some wild stuff? And we're going to be like, come on, man. What do you guys
So
think?
I think it might be a little controversial, but really think I like to see the Nintendo Switch move away from the cartridge into CDs. That's my thing.
Ooh.
That would be a
Oh,
cool thing to do, but I wonder how that would work for them. I think the cartridge is a little outdated to still
Yeah.
be playing
I
cartridge on the
don't know,
Switch.
man. I love that fucking
No,
cartridge. I love it. I love it. I don't want them to go.
or even just go straight digital, because that way they could have their whole library digitally, and it could be easier for backwards compatibility issues, right? I
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough on a handheld. Do you want them to keep it handheld or make something more stable like a Xbox or
I
PlayStation?
think, man, now with so many apps like Xbox Game Pass, you can play on your phone and all that stuff. I like to see them have more of a dedicated console. Because we
Yeah,
have the Rogue Ally out there, we have a Steam out there. Yeah, those are great. But I like to see like Nintendo actually compete and just keep it like a home console, like what the PS5 and what the Xbox is.
but
Ah,
What's
technically
crazy?
it can do both.
yeah, I understand that, but
Yeah.
I think it'd be a little more powerful if it's just a standalone at home kind of thing. They could do a whole lot more,
I have an image
right?
in my head that I can't get out ever since you said going to CDs. I'm picturing now the Super Nintendo Switch. Copyright that shit. and
That's what I was gonna say, bro.
you,
That's
but
what I was
imagine
gonna.
imagine the back flips open and you put in a little GameCube type CD, click into the back. You
Right.
close it, you start playing, but then it might skip like the old CD
Might
Yeah,
players.
skip.
I don't
Yeah,
oh,
know.
it's
yeah,
gonna skip.
yeah.
I think cartridge is the perfect way to go for that, and I want it to be keep handheld. Like I want it to
Really.
keep their same format. I think it's so unique. I mean, I think one of these companies is trying to mimic it now, Lenovo or Logitech. I gotta look it up in a little bit, but I want them to keep that same format with the little Joy Cons that come off the dock. Now I want them to have a much better dock out the box. I want it to be a little more powerful, kind of like this bad boy. But
Yes.
like Jay said earlier,
Oh, yeah,
extra
that's
battery
cool.
life.
Yeah,
But the
that's the
Super
battle.
Switch is the way to go. If they name it Super Switch, I might retire, yo.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe even drop in the
Imagine that.
color schemes from the Super Nintendo, the gray and the purple.
Wow.
Oh my
Then
god.
hit you right in the
I
nostalgia bone.
The
right.
possibilities.
I
This could
think
be the
like
biggest, like, best selling console ever made. That's how I feel about the Super Switch.
yeah.
But
I I think honestly for real, though, I think they should move away from cartridges. If you could download your games digitally at home and you still take it with you, right? And you don't need, hopefully, you don't need to have Wi-Fi to play them. You could do some kind of like a memory download, 20, 30 gigs for a game or whatever it is, and just take it on the road with you without having to have all those cartridges in your hand and in your bag. Because listen, I spent so much money on cartridges because of Benny, because of my son. It's incredible. I bought at least 4 copies of Minecraft already because he loses that every time he goes
Damn.
somewhere.
Yeah.
So
Well, this is actually a
and
topic that has come up recently again, um, where Nintendo they asked them recently, what is it that you guys are doing for game preservation? And their response was, you have your Nintendo account now. You have your account, and as we switch from consoles to consoles, you're going to be able to bring along your game. So the idea is we don't know for sure yet if we're going to have backwards compatibility, but the idea is that some of these older games that you've already bought and you already have on your account, in theory, should work on the new Switch, as little by little the consoles, the big ones and the handheld ones, are becoming more so like gaming PCs. So it's a little easier, making the game for one, making the game for the other. I mean, there's it's not exactly that simple all the time, but I feel like that might be what they're alluding to, because they're super pro consumer, right?
right.
They're the
Yeah,
devil. We love them,
okay.
but they're the devil.
They get away with murder, those guys. I
Yeah.
mean, everything's behind a paywall. I don't expect backwards compat straight off rip. I don't. It's Nintendo. I know they're gonna put a paywall
No,
behind most of their stuff. The subscription base. They're gonna slowly implement. Their online's getting a little better, but there's no excuse at this point for where it's at right now.
yeah, it
Like
drops
no
a lot.
excuse. PlayStation and Xbox merc Nintendo Online is the worst thing ever. But I just want them to have a platform that can play third party on it. I love my ROG Ally. Nintendo started this thing. I want them
Yeah,
to excel at it, you know? And the way that their games are set up, there's really no need to. I think that their partnership with Microsoft is pretty interesting too. They seem to have a great relationship, and I think there's going to be a prediction now. Game Pass is going to be on the next Super Switch.
oh yeah, for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I
That's
I
why.
think it's gonna go. And you got Azure cloud gaming platform that Microsoft has, and I'm pretty sure that's gonna be in the mix somehow.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna get with Microsoft and put their games on the cloud, and I think there's gonna be a lot of good to come out of that. But keep the cartridges. I don't care what Chris said. Full Metal Funk's gonna be wrong on this one, baby. Gonna be wrong on this one.
Yeah, probably, but whatever.
Matter
That's
of
okay.
fact, keep the same exact cartridge
Probably.
because what they did with Tears of the Kingdom, oh, those guys are geniuses, programming geniuses. How does that game with all that content fit on that little ass cartridge? Nah, that
How
was
many gigs do you
amazing.
think the actual cartridge holds?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
No,
There's different levels. Apparently, there's even a 4 gig one, an 8 gig,
really.
16, and it goes
And
like
the little
that. And
cartridge.
yeah, from what my understanding, when they go to print these games, it costs them more to get the bigger one. So, they're still selling the game at 60 or 70 or whatever, but they're paying more if they want the bigger card. So now you have this BS that we're seeing across the board in a lot of cases for, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo, where you buy the game, you pop it in, and then it starts downloading 30 gigs, 20 gigs, 50 gigs,
Right.
whatever. And it's like, what do I even own? I bought it physical because I want to own it, but you don't even own it anymore because in the future, when things move along, you lost it there. So I think we went off on a little tangent there. We left the Super Switch in the dust there, man. But
So my other prediction would be like, how cool would it be? I'm not sure if it was the Game Boy Advance. I forgot which Game Boy Advance. They had the flip screen, right?
The
It had
SP.
two screens on each
ooh,
side. Remember that? Was it the SP? They
Oh
had the
no, the
both.
DS. You're
The
talking
DS,
about
right?
the
Yeah,
DS.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
That you could flip it and you could like touch screen one bottom and the top. You know what I mean? You had two screens. Imagine if they made that like that, the the Nintendo Switch
I
like
mean,
that.
it's kind of like the Wii U, kind of.
Is
The
it?
Wii
I
U
never
was
I
it?
never played the Wii U.
Not the Wii U. What's the add-on that they had? The Wii U.
well, Well, I think you're
Plus or
talking about
whatever.
the Wii U. The Wii U was basically like a Wii, but it had the console, and then instead of the regular controller that looked like a wand, it was basically another handheld little console. So
Oh,
you're playing it on the TV, but there are things you could do on this basically giant
Yeah.
controller tablet thing that you have. So I get what you're saying there, man. That might be interesting. Leave
yeah,
it to Nintendo. They always have to add some kind of weird thing
yeah.
to it. So brace for impact. It's coming. And
Yeah.
according to history, you know, the if I remember correctly, the Nintendo Switch was announced around this time of year, and then it
Right.
dropped the following March or so. You know, not the typical holiday thing, but word on the street is that, you know, around this time next year is when it's going to go on sale, and that they're likely going to announce it sometime in the next couple of months. But it might just be a teaser. We might just get kind of like a silhouette or something like that.
So you would think it'd
But
be
it's
like a
happening,
holiday
man.
release next year?
I think so. I think
It'll
so.
be out
Early
by
early
next year
holiday.
holiday.
Yeah. Oof.
100%.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, but I think what's going to
It'd be-
be different than the past generations now, I actually think that the Switch, the current Switch, is not going to just fade away. I think it's still going to have its place. There's so many really good games
of
on
course.
it. You know, if the new one can upscale the old games, then it's going to be a no-brainer. You upgrade when you can, you play your games. But I think that if you were to say, you know what, I'm going to wait on this one for a little bit, you could still have years of games to play on the Switch. It's just got thousands on there, you know?
You know what else I'd
So
like
I'm
to
hoping
see?
they keep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Chris. Sorry.
I was going to say another thing that I like to see for the new Switch when it comes out is the Super Switch, right? That's what you're calling it. Is that what
Super
you're
Hmm.
calling it?
Nintendo Switch.
Super
Let's
Nintendo Switch.
go.
I like to see higher memory on it, man. Instead of just having your 32 megabytes, put 500 on there. You know, don't jip out on us. Don't cheat us of our memory
Yeah,
space, and make us buy another SD cartridges. You know, to have more memory.
I would
Well,
love to
if they're
see that.
going that portable route, then that's exactly what's gonna happen. It's kind of hard when you're doing it on something
Well,
so small. Like I had to
but look at the
upgrade
Rogue
this
Ally.
bad boy.
Yeah, but that had like
Yeah.
what 500.
What does it come with?
I think, yeah, it's
Yeah.
half a terabyte.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Nintendo could do it, man. Nintendo could do it.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
this
give us
thing was
500
700
megabytes.
bucks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. But
The
Xbox
the
Xbox is 500 bucks and it has one terabyte or whatever it is. 500,
well, it
no,
depends on
500
which one you
megabytes.
get. Yeah.
Yeah, I think mine has
Yeah. Yeah.
500 megabytes, but still 500 bucks. Charge four hundred
Yeah, but
bucks
it
for the new Super
depends.
Nintendo Switch and give us
If we're talking about
500 gigs.
portability, you were talking about staying like a stationary box. That might work very well. But if we're talking about keeping a handheld, then I don't know, man. I
I
play
think
my
with the Rogue
Switch for
Ally could do
different
it.
reasons.
Yeah, I guess. I guess. Well, but you still got to
You're
download
right,
cartridges on
though.
there, right?
Yeah, you're
Like
right, though.
that's the
They
thing with
needs more
Nintendo. You
memory.
still right, but you still got to download cartridges on the Nintendo Switch to play them, right? You still got some kind of memory backup on it. Why not just give us a few more gigabytes of memory so that way you don't have to go out and spend more money on another SD chip? Charge us an extra 30 bucks, 40 bucks, whatever it is, for the console, and let us have a bigger hard drive on that Switch. I think that's one of the biggest drawbacks I think that I didn't like about the Switch was the small memory space.
yeah, it's going to
Yeah.
be an interesting thing to weigh out because they have to consider a reasonable price that people are going to be willing to pay, which I think the max is going to be 500 bucks because people are going to look at the Xbox and PS5 and look at the Switch and be like, are they worth the same? I don't know, maybe, maybe not. But now you have they I know that they're going to want the battery life to be decent because if if it's like the ROG Ally, people are gonna lose their minds. So it's like they want it to be powerful, but they want you to have battery, and it's got to be cost effective, and it's got to have storage. So prepare for disappointment because not all of them are gonna get checked off. So I don't know. Let's see.
So, in terms of resolution, what do you guys want to see the Switch? A 4K,
I
a
think
1080,
I think 4K
1440.
is pretty good. 4K.
You don't think that's a little overkill for Nintendo?
Now that they
Nintendo
want to keep up with
games?
now that they want to keep up with the other systems. I mean, it feels like sometimes like Nintendo is such a great company, such a great system, such they have such great games, but they're still stuck in the past. I mean, I know people like us, we like that, but not everybody is a fan of that. They want something more powerful. They want something more updated. That's why you buy a new system, right? You don't buy a new system to go pay to play outdated games, 2D games, when you could be playing
Mhm.
3D games. Now, guys like us, we like that. We like our retro games. We play that stuff all the time. But for someone who's not into that, I think a powerful console is what they want. They want something with a better resolution, better graphics, better. I don't know how to put it. More. How can I say this? Help
Yeah,
me
for it
out.
to be
How
more
can I put it?
capable.
Right. Well, yeah. So be able to
Yeah.
run games differently, like because I think the frames per second on a Switch is not the same as a frame per second on a Xbox or PS5, right?
Yeah. I think little by
Not
little,
at all.
as more of us start getting into and society seems like everybody plays some level of games, I feel like the frame rate is starting to become a little bit more important because when you think about it, our old NES games, Super Nintendo, N64, PS1, a lot of these games were running at 60 FPS and it felt smooth and it looked good. And then now, you have to make concessions. You have these beautiful looking games coming out on these bigger consoles, and sometimes you can't get the insane detail and the fast frame rate. But we're going into the future, and I think people are expecting more of the better frame rate. At least I am. And
100%.
if it's on a handheld, I think you might be able to get by with your 1080p, and maybe when you dock it, you get that 1440 somewhere in
Right.
between the 1080 and the 4K, because you're still having kind of like cartoony-ish kind of games, right? Your Zeldas, your Marios, so it might be enough. Hey, if they come out and they say, "Hey, this thing's 4K capable," I say, "Hey, man, badass, that's great." I hope
Especially if you
maybe
if you're going to partner up with. I'm sorry. I mean, interrupt.
no,
I
no,
was
no,
going to say
you're good. I was just
especially
gonna say that if they can compete. Mhm.
yeah, especially if they're going to partner up with say Xbox with the Xbox Game Pass, they need a system that they could handle a better frame rate, right? So
Right,
they
right.
have to amp that up. They have to, because Game Pass will not work on a 25 FPS. No way, or 30 FPS, right? Something
No.
lower than that, it would not work. You can't play, let's say, Forza with 20 frame rates per second. No, you can't do that.
As a matter of fact, speaking on that, I ended up getting um, Doom, the first, well, the Doom remake, but the first remake, not Eternal, on the Switch. I thought, man, it'd be great to have Doom on the go, and I saw the trailers and everything, and it looked incredible. But damn, when you're running around a room and everything, the frame rate drops, the graphics get
Right.
blurry. It's like you're in like a you just jumped into a disgusting lake and you open your eyes. I'm like, God, like I can barely play it. I was playing it. I got to a part that was really challenging, and I was just like, either I suck or I just can't deal with this anymore. Like it just was a mess, and I couldn't deal with it. I was like, man, I wish I would have gotten it for one of the more powerful
Yeah.
consoles. I'm sure it's a much better experience, but that's where that thing's showing its age. And that game came out years ago, so they got some work to do. So
Dude,
Yeah.
let's
even
see
with
what happens.
Pokemon Scarlet, you know how easy Pokemon is? Like, Pokemon. Pokemon Scarlet sucked. That shit. I'm sorry. I keep cursing.
Mistakes were
It
made.
ran so bad. Like, ran so bad. There's no vision. It's like, for me, I'd like something with 1080p, maybe 30 frames per
Minimum.
second if it's on like a handheld. But when you dock it, I want that 60 frames.
Right.
1440, I don't see why we can't do that. It's a new age. Games are getting more demanding. Breath of the Wild to me was like a beautiful graphical, like the art design. It was such a peaceful game. It was like my favorite Zelda. Just immersed in that world. And then
Yep.
Tears of the Kingdom came out and they expanded on everything, but the graphics were significantly worse than what it was. And even that
The frame
game,
rate.
as cool as it was, the frame rate dropped here and there all the time. The Switch hardware is outdated. I
Oh
just
yeah.
want something that can be a little more. I'm not talking about, has to keep up with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox. I'm not saying that.
Right.
because they go in their own route, and I like their route for the most part. But if you want to play any third party games or some of their first party games, like you have to make it run well.
Yeah, especially if
And
you're
I,
going to
and
give
I
Game Pass
hope,
an example.
yeah,
Well,
With a
let's hope
Game
we hear
Pass.
something on. Let's hope we hear something on that soon, man. Hopefully, Nintendo opens up and starts talking about things. You know.
They were saying it's a big possibility because of the whole thing that I guess they added Banjo to Smash Brothers, and Banjo's a
Mhm.
Microsoft character, right? So that's why they're
Right.
saying,
it is not.
hey,
Yeah. I expect to see
yeah,
Game Pass on there as an option for sure. And if not, Xbox exclusives may start making their way over there and stuff like that,
yeah,
which is it's great. What you will never see, mark my words, is a single Mario, Zelda, or any of those games on anything other than something that says Nintendo on it.
Nintendo, right?
They People get mad at Sony for being you know um, with the exclusives and everything like that, but Nintendo's been doing this since the beginning of time. They
You
invented
think
that
so?
shit and they're still doing it.
Yeah.
Well, only time will
So
tell,
would
but
Apple count? Because
what
it's
do you mean? How
already
so?
Mario on Apple.
Yeah, Mario Kart on Apple.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Not just
Yeah, well,
that,
that
but there's a pretty cool Mario game on the
yeah.
iOS platform and probably even Android now.
are you talking about Mario
So,
Run? The
yeah,
I think that's what
yeah.
it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Where they had
Mario
the
Run.
different characters: Luigi,
yeah.
Peach, Toad.
So what happened was with that was they wanted to put it out there. They gave you that little taste, that free bit that you can play, and then you pay $10 and the whole game is yours. And they made their money in the beginning, and it died. It was over, and they
Yeah,
didn't like that. Unfortunately, on the phones, it's all about those microtransactions and just keep you forking over money into those games. So they left it on there. They never want to admit defeat. They're not going to take it off of there. Um, but I don't know that they considered it a success. I think not. Um, but
I foresee
you know,
them on Xbox.
yeah.
The Mario
I
Kart
think
did pretty well
Microsoft's
though.
gonna acquire Nintendo. Nah,
All right,
they're
They'll
getting
try.
everybody out here.
They'll try to
they'll get
buy the
Sega before
market.
they get Nintendo.
Spider-Man, Sony, what?
They'll
It's
say
gonna be
whatever.
Microsoft's one day.
They'll
I'm
probably
playing.
try to buy Sony too, and then they'll have a game come out called Monopoly.
Oh,
uh, Shots fired.
What's the FTC?
Yeah, but
Monopoly
yeah,
FTC.
somebody call the FCC. So, um, yeah, man. So we hit that up for a little bit. How about before we move on to Activision Blizzard, how about we introduce ourselves a little bit for anybody who might care to know? Any of you guys want to go first?
Go BJ.
The build up. Did he freeze or?
nah, that
I
wasn't
think
for
he's
you.
frozen. I think there's some music in the background.
Yeah. I was like,
There's some
um,
music in the
somebody
background.
check on him.
so I am 36, born in the late 80s, and I've been gaming pretty much all my life. Since I can remember, I had a NES, that classic Nintendo system. Super
Okay,
Mario Bros. 3 was my jam.
this one right there.
And then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Uh, After that, went to Sega, got a Genesis. I skipped the Super Nintendo era.
Mm,
I ended up having one towards the end of the generation, but I didn't really care for that system.
oof,
And I
broke my
ended up
heart.
going the Sega Genesis route. Yeah, I know everybody loves it, but I really didn't have a good time with it. Sega Genesis was my jam though. And then I saw people with Game Gear, and I was a little jealous. I'm not gonna lie. That was a handheld back then. Um, and yeah, when the Dream, well, GameCube, before that, Nintendo 64 had all of these things, and then Dreamcast, my goat, best launch lineup ever. And when they went out, uh, Xbox was like the Sega spiritual successor, so I just gravitated towards that. I didn't own a PlayStation until PlayStation 3 towards the end of the generation. And I only got it really for DC Universe Online.
For PS3.
So, yeah. Just I really enjoyed the console, but I didn't have more than 3 games for it. You know, my Xbox 360 was my jam, so I played that all the time. That was such a phenomenal console,
Yeah.
especially when the Halo dropped. Oh my god, there's nothing like Halo when it's hitting. And then yeah, now I'm a grown ass man, and I got every console I want. So,
Just no time to
but
play them.
yeah, no time to play.
Yeah.
But
Sad.
I do still gravitate towards Xbox. Um, that's my heart, my soul. I love Nintendo based on what I grew up with, and who doesn't like playing Mario? Zelda is like one of my favorite franchises of all time, and Mario Kart, Mario Party, all of these awesome Smash Bros. When you got people over, bragging rights. Mm. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's me, man.
Hell yeah. You know what? Without them, where would we be?
Favorite character
Everything
ever,
would be different.
right here. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, go ahead. I'll
Awesome, man.
pass on the
Awesome.
baton.
You want to hit it up, Chris?
Oh, go ahead. Age before beauty. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, man. So I go by Jay. My handles on there are neon black. We'll put something up here towards the end if you guys are interested. So yeah, man. I'm close in age to you. I was born in the year of our Lord, the same year the NES came out. It was meant to be. We both came out of the womb together, I
85.
guess. That's right. So yeah, man, that was my first console. I was a little kid. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. My big sister was the one that would play, and I would learn as much as I could. And we had the Olympics game that came with a big mat. So we were in the living room, trying to play. We used the mat to try to play Super Mario 2. It was a mess. And man, I remember I had my little Super Mario lunchbox going to school. I've seen those on eBay and thought about getting them many times, man. Maybe one day I will. But yeah, man, and NES was great. Super Mario 1, Super Mario 2, Super Mario 3. Like this thing was getting better with age. And for me, when the Super Nintendo came out, I remember exactly where I was opening it. I remember that big styrofoam coming out and just seeing that thing in all its beauty. And Super Mario was in the box, ready to play. They don't do that anymore. And
No.
man, that was, and I got into RPGs. I'm big, big, big into RPGs. I don't have time that much these days to play them, but um, Final Fantasy 2, which is Final Fantasy 4 in the rest of the planet, was just huge, man. I have so much nostalgia for it. A buddy of mine introduced me to it. It was a game changer, man. And then Final Fantasy 3 came out, incredible, incredible story. And then, as you know, Final Fantasy 7 comes out, and now it's just everybody's on it. But yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of Super Nintendo. I felt like that console just had the most amount of games, man. That was when we started going to Blockbuster, and my dad would let us rent games. And oh man, it was just we
Wow.
played everything, man. It was just incredible the amount of games that they had on that thing. And then the N64 came out, and I guess it had its little bumps and stuff, but that was another one that when it came to Mario 64, I beat that game inside and out, 100% of it, obsessed about Game Pro magazines, reading the maps and how to get every single
Yeah.
star in every level. Oh, it was incredible. And then I don't know how the sequence of events happened. I think my cousin had a PS1, and it felt like that was like the teenager console, which is probably what happened with you, BJ, with the Sega Genesis. Is like, I'm not a little baby. I don't need a Nintendo. I want to get on this teenager console and this the Mortal Kombat with blood and not sweat.
That's exactly
So
the vibe, but that's why I went to Genesis first, baby.
yeah, Genesis does what Nintendo don't, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. But that PS1 took me completely away from Nintendo, man. Final Fantasy 7, I couldn't have enough. Resident Evil 2, Parasite Eve, all the RP. It was just raining RPGs
Yeah.
on this thing.
Oh yeah.
The Resident Evil games, the capability of having that disc versus N64's cartridge, it made it impossible for a lot of these games to be on the N64, and I felt like I was living large. The loading time sucked, but you get used to it. So at that time, it was PS1, PS2, and on PS2 when GTA 3 came out, I was like, "This is it. It can't get any better than this. I can do whatever I want. I can drive cars all over. This is incredible." And yeah, man, I enjoyed the hell out of PS2. Um, it's another just a bunch of great games on there. Max Payne. Um, I can go on. Then the PS3 came out, and that one started off kind of whack for me. I didn't have too many things to play on it, but The Last of Us,
Oof.
Uncharted. Oh my gosh, man, it was love. It was love. And it's funny because BJ, what you said, it was almost like a role reversal. I was loving my PS3, and then I got an Xbox 360 because I started working. I had my income. I'm like, hey, let me get the other one. And there was a couple of games I played. Blue Dragon, which is an RPG, and then I
Mm-hmm.
played Lost Odyssey, which is an RPG.
Mm.
And I don't know why I never went into the Halos and all that stuff, but it was like the opposite of what you experienced. I had a few good games that I loved, and then I just kind of fell back to the PS3, and then PS4, PS5, and I got Game Pass now, so I'm getting a little bit of taste of what you guys are living. Um, but yeah, man, obviously Nintendo Switch, but I basically skipped the GameCube, the Wii U, and all that. Um, and now I got the Switch, loving the Switch. I feel like everybody's got either an Xbox and a Switch, or a PlayStation and a Switch, or just a Switch, or maybe two Switches. But
Yeah.
yeah, man,
Or in my
I'm
case,
big into retro
Xbox and two
games. You'll hear
switches.
about it. Oh yeah, well, you got to satisfy the
Yeah,
kids too, man.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
We're old men.
let me ask you a couple questions then.
Send it.
One, what's your favorite console that you've owned?
Xbox. It's gonna say Microsoft. I bet you.
Who, me?
Nah, he
Oh,
loved
what's
his
my favorite?
PlayStation, man. He's wearing a shirt.
No, I mean, it's a weird, it's an uncomfortable question because I wanna honor the ones who set things up, and yeah, there was your Ataris, and there was 100 things back in the day, but Nintendo really they brought us along, man. But I just when I think of them, they're on PlayStation. Resident Evil 2, Final Fantasy 7. It was just an incredible time to be playing games, and I love the PS1. Oh, as you can see here, but yeah, it's hard though. I can't fully say that I love one console more than another, but it's right there with Nintendo in general and PlayStation in general, man. Just so many good memories. It's hard. It's hard to pick, you know.
So that leads to you kind of alluded to it. What would be your favorite game of all time?
Um, Man, it's hard. It fluctuates. Final Fantasy VII is the answer that just comes out easy, quick, no questions asked. It got me into RPGs. Incredible story. Um, and then now the remake is giving us everything that we've been asking for 25, 30 years. Yeah, I mean, even though Final Fantasy 8 and Final Fantasy 9 came out, it's not like these days where the games are coming out spread out. These games came out almost back to back. So Final Fantasy 8 came out and the characters looked more like real people. So we were like, oh man, just give us Final Fantasy 7, remake it where the characters look like real people so we could see what it would be like. Obviously, that never really happened until now. And what they're giving us now is everything we've ever wanted. And I think I could speak for the community of Final Fantasy 7 fans when I say that. But then again, when it comes to the top games, I played Witcher 3 and I put in a ridiculous amount of time into it, and I have never felt so immersed into a game before Witcher 3, man. So that one's up there, and it just fluctuates a lot. But Final Fantasy 7 is up there. Resident Evil 2 was huge for me, and Ocarina of Time too, though. So it's hard,
Hmm.
man. My top game of all time is like seven or eight games. So it's rough.
And they're
It's hard
all
to choose just one
RPGs.
sometimes.
In
Probably.
one way, shape, or form, it's either an RPG, like a JRPG type game, or it's a live action kind of RPG, action RPG kind of deal. Yeah, I like building up my characters. How about yourself? And then maybe we can jump on Chris and go through his life.
I'm a little
Well,
older than
I
you
am
guys,
a
so I figured out.
RPG. I am a RPG guy too. I mean, from the first Pokemon series on Game Boy, I was all over that. And the classic Zeldas. I mean, Ocarina of Time changed my life. You know, so
Incredible.
I wouldn't have like a top five games. Is hard, like you said, but I'll throw some franchises in there. Zelda's in the top five for sure. I love
Yeah,
the Zelda series. Every Zelda game that comes out, I missed. I missed Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, I think. So I gotta get back on those. Life was
I
kind of
think
hectic back then.
I think Nintendo has it in a pack in their back pocket. It's already done, ready to go, and they're just waiting for the right time to drop it. Because there's been a lot of rumors about that, and they're very specific. So don't,
I
don't be
hope they do it
surprised
on
if
the
that comes
next
out on Switch. Hmm.
yeah, Super Switch. Let's
Super
go.
Nintendo Switch. Oh yeah.
Um Mass Effect is gonna be another genre like that was an incredible series. That's definitely gonna be in top five. The Halo Master Chief, my favorite character of all time. You know, he's such a badass dude, and the series was incredible. I'm a first person shooter type of guy. That's the games that I gravitate to the most. But RPG at heart because my favorite game of all time is Fantasy Star Online,
Ah
and that was
yes.
a RPG MMO. And I started on a Dreamcast, and I continued on Xbox, OG Xbox, and I just love it, man. But if I had to talk about like the best time in gaming was probably the 360, to be honest. Playing with my friends, jumping on Halo, everybody free for all, who comes out on top. It was just amazing. LAN parties, like,
Love it.
yeah. So
And he's
the what's another game that came out? Man, I don't know. I'm really liking that PlayStation. I ended up getting the upgrades for Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man that came out. I mean, part two is out now, but Miles Morales, Ghost of Tsushima, man, that on PlayStation 5, those things hit. They hit very well. So, Chris,
love it.
come on.
Yo. So I'm Chris, aka Full Metal Funk, the one and only. Um, First console that I ever played wasn't even a console. It was a upright Pac-Man machine, stand-up machine. So that's my first taste of video games, and that was, I would say, 1983. I'm a little older than these guys, so I've been around video games for a little longer. They weren't even born when I was playing. Um, and the first console I ever owned was an Atari 2600, which was a hand me down from one of my cousins who got a Nintendo
Oh,
and
damn.
handed me down a Nintendo 2600. Uh, and then I didn't get my Nintendo till 1990. I got it for Christmas. And like Jay said, it's like opening that box and you smell the styrofoam, and it came with a Duck Hunt and Mario Brother combo game. I had the red pistol, not the gray and white, but the red one. And that was my console for years. Playing one of my favorites, Mega Man 2 on there. That was
Ooh,
one of my
Nope.
hell
favorites.
yeah.
I killed
Yeah.
that for years. Um, what was the other one? What's it called? Ninja Gaiden. Ninja Gaiden destroyed my life because it was such a tough game.
The
I never
classic one?
finished it. Yeah, the original
Oh,
Ninja
yeah.
Gaiden
I had it on
destroyed me.
Genesis, man. What a game. Yeah,
Yeah,
very hard.
and then the original Castlevania. That was an awesome game too. Those were my top three games when I was a kid playing, and of course Tecmo Bowl, right? 'Cause we're all sports fans, so Tecmo Bowl was. So I would say four games that I played constantly were those four, um, till I went from the Nintendo and jumped ship to Genesis. And
Hey, I knew I wasn't alone here.
no, I got my first Genesis. I think it was 1992 after Hurricane Andrew. Got that little
Damn.
stimmy check back in those days, and my dad was able to get me a Genesis, right?
Oh hell yeah.
So it came with Sonic, so I had that one game for about a year before I was able to get another new game. Praying for another
Wow.
hurricane to come and hit, so get some more free games. You know what I mean? So So yeah, Genesis was my stuff, man. I love Genesis, and then they released Mortal Kombat, which was Mortal Kombat. You can actually do fatalities on Genesis and see the actual fatalities, like Nintendo, where it was kind of like PG rated compared to the R rated version of Genesis. Um,
Definitely.
That's how I was like.
then
I'm a grown ass man. I'm a
so
little
then
kid.
what's
I'm
the
like, yo, look at this blood.
Yeah.
fatality?
Even if it was sweat,
Right,
who's sweating that
toasty,
much?
For real.
man, man. Um, so so I went through my Nintendo phase, my Genesis phase, and then here comes the PlayStation, right? PlayStation, which is I think one of the greatest consoles ever. For me, it is at least. I didn't get my first one brand new. I bought it from one of my classmates in high school for $50. This is years ago. Come on, it's like 1994, 95, something like that. I think it was. And of course, the first game I got on there was the one and only Final Fantasy VII, which I got for Christmas from an ex girlfriend.
Oh snap!
And that game took my life over
Incredible.
once again. You know, it was an incredible game, and I played it for years. I haven't played the remakes because I'm an Xbox player now. I haven't gone back to PlayStation except for a couple of times.
You guys will get
Um,
it though. It's coming.
yeah, right. I hope so. Um, and of course, Gran Turismo that came out on PlayStation as well. The original Gran Turismo, which was another amazing game. And then I was a PlayStation guy all the way PlayStation 1 and then 2, of course. And then, of course, here comes the beast of all beasts, Xbox 360, right? And that's the game that converted me to Xbox because of one game. And that game is Gears of War, which is one of my all time favorites in that genre, in that, multiplayer, third person shooter kind of genre, right? Gears
Mhm.
of War for me changed
Hell
everything.
yeah.
I played it. I think, man, I was in school at the time and in college at the time, fresh out of the Marine Corps, and I played that game hours and hours, and then the wife would be at work, and I would spend 7, 6 hours gaming online, just playing with my buddies, and then get up and go to work, and then wake up the next morning and do it again for hours. I was obsessed with it. Every game that I bought sat in the corner because I didn't touch for 2 years, right?
Damn.
That and
Big
of
Gears
course
of
Call of
Warfare.
Duty, Call of Duty 4 came out, and of course, yeah, I know. But still, I played it. I will play it, but not as much as Gears of War. So I
I
think
love that
my
passion.
favorite,
Love it.
For
yeah,
real.
that was my favorite. And even if you look at my gamer tag, you still see that my picture is still the cog from Gears of War emblem, which is the bloody cog. Like they call it, I guess, it's like a dog tag, but they call it a cog tag, right?
Yeah.
Badass.
Yeah,
Hell
that's
yeah.
yes, favorite. And of course, I've gone back to PS3, but only for The Last of Us, and then didn't play after that, and didn't pick up a PS4. I think I skipped Nintendo altogether after the Super Nintendo. I didn't touch Nintendo products until my son.
Mm.
My wife had a Wii that I bought her for Christmas because she wanted one, which she played maybe 3 or 4 times. It's still brand new in the package. But the reason I got back to Nintendo because of my son. My son's a big Nintendo Mario fan. So, but I'm an Xbox guy through and through, always. PS boys ain't got nothing on us.
Conversion. It's
Hey
like
man, at the
switching
end of the
religions,
day,
bro.
Yeah,
it, yeah, pretty much. And you know what, man? For anybody listening out there, I think something that's awesome about us is that we're from different places, we're into different things, and we're not gonna freaking be at each other's throats like people are on Twitter. You like what you like, you enjoy what you like, play what you want to play, whatever makes you happy. If it's retro, if it's new, if it's Nintendo, play. It doesn't freaking matter, bro. Just let people do what they want to do. Go take your hate somewhere else,
enjoy
bro.
gaming,
Just
man. That's what it's about.
yeah, man.
That's
Yeah.
a great thing about it, man. Gaming brings everybody together. I don't understand the whole console war generation. You can like multiple things, you know?
Right.
It's not like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm a DC fan, but I hate Marvel. Like, no, I love them both. Like, you can like everything.
You could love
Coexist.
Starfield. You could love
Stop the
Starfield and
hate.
love Spider-Man 2, right?
I know. Hey,
Yeah.
we ain't got to shit on anything.
No, dude, it's about gaming. I think my
Every
next purchase,
your
Mhm.
next purchase what?
it's gonna be the PS5, just because I want to give Spider-Man 2 a try.
Dude, I got the PlayStation 5 just for Spider-Man, so I didn't end up thinking I was gonna be on Ghost of Tsushima and all that. Like,
Oh,
I
that game
really
is
need to
awesome.
dive into these hashtag just
That
one
game is
games
awesome,
that
though. I
PlayStation
did.
comes to. Yeah,
That game is awesome. Ghost of Tsushima is amazing.
yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Some good stuff on there. Well, we did a nice long introduction on all of us, and we'll circle back to these things in the future, I'm sure. But let's talk about this Activision Blizzard King purchase that Microsoft made, trying to monopolize things
Yeah,
over here,
buddy.
man. So, what are
Oh,
your
the
guys'
word, the
thoughts
M
on it?
word. That should be a bad word.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I mean,
Well,
to catch anybody up who doesn't know what's going on, because we might have our audience that's big into gaming, and we might have our audience who is new to this stuff and not know what's going on. But at the end of the day, one of the biggest entertainment acquisitions of all time is that Microsoft purchased Activision Blizzard King for like $69 billion, shit ton of money, and we're expecting a lot of these games um, to make a comeback and to be on Game Pass and all that good stuff. The FTC tried to shut it down; it didn't work out for them, so we're in full effect. So, what do you guys think, man? What are you guys hoping to see? What do you guys think this is going to
Oh
look like
man.
going forward?
Oof. I've never played Warcraft in my life, or I'm sorry, World Warcraft ever.
Mhm.
So I would love to see them do what they did with the DC game. What was that DC game, BJ? What's it called?
DC Universe Online.
Yeah, DC Universe Online. Do that with Warcraft by bringing the Xbox, man.
Mhm.
I don't know how it's going to work on a console, but I would love to see that. I've
Game
always wanted.
Pass.
I've always wanted to play it. I just never been a PC guy. I've always been a console guy.
Yeah.
So a lot of those games like Warcraft, World of Warcraft, I didn't play because I'm a console guy. So but I would love to see that, and I'd love
Yeah.
to see like a resurrection of Tony Hawk games, man.
Oh,
That would be
Nice.
awesome too.
There's a ton on the
Right?
list, huh? BJ hooked
Yeah.
us up with a nice little list of some of these games from the past that now, with all this extra money and employees and everything from
Right.
Microsoft, it might be possible to bring some of these back. We got Crash Bandicoot on there. Obviously, Diablo. You got Diablo 4 recently came out. Got a lot of
Hmm.
good stuff on here. There's a lot of chatter now that Guitar Hero might be making a comeback.
Oh
Didn't expect to
yeah.
hear that, but that's going to be real
I love
interesting.
Guitar Hero.
Apparently, they did like a
That
little
was a great
poll.
game.
Yeah, a lot of people were interested in seeing it. And just to touch real quick on World of Warcraft, my brother and I used to play that, and friends of ours as well, for I think over a year. I played it for over a year. They played it for much longer than that, and it was a lot of fun, man. Very just there's just so much going on and so much to accomplish in the game that it'll be really interesting to see it. And you know what? At first, I would have told you, no, that's got to be mouse and keyboard all day. However, you look at Final Fantasy 14, which is also an MMO, and
Right.
they have ways that you could do things with the controllers to accomplish having all these skills. So, I think it's possible. I think it's
it's
doable.
gotten a lot better. That controller's
Mhm.
gotten a lot better. They're
Yeah.
Especially
minimizing the
that elite,
gap for real.
especially
Give me
that elite controller,
StarCraft.
man. It's fire.
I want
Yeah,
to see StarCraft come back on console
Just
somehow. I
that's
don't know how that'll work.
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
really.
It's like Halo Wars. Have you guys ever played that or seen
Right,
that?
right, right. Yeah.
I haven't played
Hmm.
it, but
Halo
I know
Wars.
of it. Similar concept.
Well, because I love Halo so much, I ended up giving that a try, and that was like my
It's a good game.
first or second time jumping into that series. I think I did Age of Empires before,
That's pretty
and
cool.
I heard StarCraft was like that. I never got into it when I was younger, but it was huge at the
It
time.
was so competitive. We used to do LAN
Yeah,
parties too, man. We used to fill it up 4v4, or free for all. Bro,
I watched a
StarCraft.
couple
4v4,
friends,
20-minute no rush.
and then I think, if I'm not mistaken, they tried to do something more like a 3D Starfield, like first person shooter type of thing, or
Who
StarCraft.
StarCraft?
Yeah,
Yeah, there
StarCraft.
was like the Ghost something or other that was supposed to be coming out, and I don't know what
Ghostwire.
happened to it. It died out. No,
Yeah,
the because one of your characters in StarCraft is a ghost, and basically they go invisible, and you could have them creep up to the other person's base, and they could put a laser wherever, and all of a sudden you could send a nuke from your base that'll hit wherever they're at. Pretty cool because it would be like nuclear launch detected, and then you freak out. You're like, oh shit, you're looking for that laser all over your base so you can kill the ghost. So they were gonna make a game about it, and I don't know what ended up happening with that. Maybe now with this, we'll see it come to fruition. So never
I
know.
hope they bring that back. I'd like to dive into that one. But overall, like I think that this FTC trial was very interesting. I was very disappointed in the way things work. I feel like a lot of this is politically motivated, and we got to see a lot about the industry of video game industry, and like
And he's
the
gone.
practices that they were having, and ultimately, I feel like the FTC was going with Sony and trying to protect Sony's best interest instead of the consumer. Because I didn't understand their arguments at all. I don't think they had any foot on the ground. I'm glad that Microsoft won that. I feel like it was the right thing to do. Everything that's been going on at Activision Blizzard King with the the I don't know, workplace violence, I guess you could say,
Oh yeah, they
hostile
had
work
some
environments.
scandals. Yeah,
Mm.
I think that's gonna be a Microsoft is here to save the day type of deal.
I think the
And
almighty Phil Spencer is going to put it. It's going to nip that in the butt.
he's
yeah.
already done.
There's
Yeah.
a recent restructuring that was put out. They recently put out who's going to be running what and everything. So, um, I don't know
And
the details and everything like that, but
the head
we'll see how it
guy
panned out.
in the head guy there at Activision Blizzard King is out. He's not gonna be there anymore. And that's who
Yeah,
all
that
the
Oh.
allegations were
And Phil
against
Spencer
pretty
is
much.
CEO
So.
now, right? Phil Spencer moved up, went from president to CEO now, right? Correct.
yes. So that's what I
Somebody
was
just
kind of
dismantled.
alluding to there. Yeah. So Phil Spencer is the CEO of the whole organization, and then um, uh, uh, I can't remember her name, but somebody
It's a
went and
young
took
lady.
his
Yeah.
spot. Yeah. So that would be an interesting future
Sarah Bond.
for these guys. What was the
I
name?
think that's what it is.
Sarah Bond.
That's her. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you will be seeing more of her
The
in the
Queen
camera.
is what she's referred to.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Bobby Kotick is the
That's him.
he was a CEO of Activision Blizzard King, and he's out. I know he's
Good.
gonna get a paycheck, big at golden parachute. He's gonna be on his
Yeah.
way out. Some people don't agree. I'm just glad it's over with for all those people. I want everybody to be happy. I hate seeing people at work so negative and disgruntled and not helping each
Right.
other. When everything's flowing,
Right.
life is so much better for everybody, you know?
Right. 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 Yeah. Of course.
So,
That's any place though. If you had a good staff
yeah.
and good, and it comes from the top. So Phil Spencer, man, he's done so many amazing things with Microsoft that, especially Microsoft Gaming, right? He's going to
Hmm.
run a tight ship when it comes to Activision. I think he's going to they're going to make some amazing things coming up. I really think.
That's one of his criticisms, believe it or not, is running these game companies, man.
Yeah,
Trying to be
he's
organized, and he said that one of his criticisms is that he can't manage, but I believe it's a false narrative. I think that
yeah,
people really enjoy working with him. I feel like he's a
yeah, yeah.
stand-up dude. There's some stuff that I know he can't say. Everybody has bosses that they got to answer to, and Microsoft is real good about keeping stuff locked up and not saying, you know, crazy stuff. But I feel like if people would just say the truth and say what they feel, the world would be a better place. But yeah, man, I'm glad it's over. I'm glad that they got acquired. I'm looking forward to the future. And give me some Crash Bandicoot back. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
I was looking at the list of the old Blizzard Activision IPs, and I saw Tenchu on there. You guys ever heard of
Mm,
Really?
Tenchu?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I played that back on PS1, and it's a nice little stealth assassin game. And I remember really enjoying it. So that'd be cool to see even one of the old ones get brought back. Throw it on Game Pass. Raise the resolution, frame rate, and let us hit it up, man. That'll be really cool. Tony Hawk's on
He,
there. Hmm.
Prototype, man.
I didn't mean to
Prototype
cut you
was
guys
a
off.
badass game.
Sorry, guys. I
What's
know.
up?
I meant to tell you. Who another beast of that company is that I really like, man? Is Major Nelson, Larry Hurt. I think Larry Rip, HRYB. I think
Larry
it's,
Hurt.
I don't know how to.
Yeah, yeah. Larry
Yeah,
Hurt.
yeah. That guy. That's another guy, bro. That's between him and Phil Spencer, man. They have done amazing things for Xbox. I
Did
think
that
for
dude just
Microsoft.
retire?
Who? Major Nelson?
Larry Hurt? Yeah.
I'm not sure. I know he's director of programming at Microsoft. I'm not sure. I haven't seen anything.
Bro, I think he retired a couple months
Did
ago.
he?
Let
Oh
me see.
no. I should love seeing him, Major Nelson. When he used to come on the on
Yeah.
your month. Yeah, dude, I love Major Nelson. He's one of my favorite guys. He's a gamer for the gamers, just like Phil Spencer is, man. Those guys are all about the gamers, man. And I think that's the difference between him and that's the difference between Phil Spencer and what's his name, Jim Ryan from
Oh
PlayStation.
God,
From
leave us
that's the
alone. No,
difference. Just kidding. That's the difference,
I
I
was
think.
just
'Cause
playing.
I think Jim Ryan just was all about making more money for Sony, which is that's his job to make more money for
He
them. But
he
he
succeeded,
wasn't really.
and now
Yeah, he
yeah,
succeeded. Yeah, but I don't think he was the same guy as Phil Spencer is. Phil Spencer, I think, is
no,
way more than he ever be. Not to take anything away from him, or not to say that he didn't do
yeah,
any good for PlayStation, but
yeah. He definitely
you
did
know,
his thing, and for whatever it's worth. But I really didn't like almost a year ago when you know, Gran Turismo 7's coming out. Everybody's all hyping it up and everything. And he made reference to Gran Turismo 1 or 2, saying, like, who wants to play this? And it just really showed
all of us.
how he's like, yeah, he's like, you got to
He's out of
understand
touch.
that he's completely, thank you. He's completely out of touch. You got to understand that as we playing now were the little kids playing the older games, and nostalgia is a big thing,
Right.
and a lot of us are still looking at the older games and we enjoy them and we want to play them, and you can't just like kick it out and throw it out in the trash, man. You got to preserve your older stuff, make it available, and there's younger people out there who may want to go back and play these old school games, man, and to act like it's trash because it's not 4K 60 with all these things, man. Like yeah, he's completely out of touch. I mean, he succeeded. He beat the game. He won the console generation and all that stuff. He has a successful company and all that. But yeah, I mean, and that's why I'm one that, yeah, I'm a PlayStation guy or whatever. But when PlayStation screws up, I'll be the first one to call them out. And there's plenty of stuff out there about the PlayStation Slim and all the weirdness going on with what they're doing with that. And that's a whole topic on its own right there. But you gotta call BS when you call BS. You can't be licking the boot, of your side.
Yeah, just be
So
real about it. There's no need to cover up anything. Like, these are public
Mhm.
companies, they're out in the open. Call them out. You don't agree with something, stand by it. I love Microsoft. I don't agree with everything they do. Like,
And,
you know,
yeah,
I've been with them for years now, and I don't agree with
yeah,
everything. But I do
yeah,
feel like they're headed in the right direction.
hundred
And I
percent.
feel like Sony really tanked. Like, this whole FTC showed a lot. Jim Ryan not showing up in person. I don't know. It was kind of giving me snaky
yeah,
vibes the way he was talking. And
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, the whole thing was really weird, even from like, I guess, the PlayStation side or wherever, where you might have those thoughts of like, oh, could this be bad for PlayStation or whatever. At the end of the day, man, it's in court. You got to let it take its process. But yeah, the arguments that they made were very, very strange, man. I'm like, really? That's
yeah,
that's what you're gonna put your money on? Very bizarre stuff. You got to have competition, man. If one of these companies is ahead and way ahead, and they're just ahead, that is bad for everybody because now they get to
Everybody.
go off and do whatever they want. They get to basically shit the bed and turn around and be like, well, who cares? You're still going to buy our stuff because we're number one.
right.
That's You know, the
Yeah,
Pokemon, for
yeah.
example, you're talking about Pokemon Scarlet and all these issues that it had. Meanwhile, it's still on the freaking on the boards, selling like crazy, and it's like, so
Yeah.
screw it. Just keep telling them, yeah, do whatever you guys want. We're just still gonna buy it. And you know what? I kind of missed that era. I was just a little bit older than you, so when Pokemon came out, it was kind of like, eh. My brother was big into it, and I was kind of like, it's for little kids or whatever. Though I watched all the cartoons, um, but I was always like, man, which is the Pokemon that I'm gonna get into? And I picked up Pokemon Arceus, and I enjoyed it for a bit, but somewhere along the way, I kind of fell off. I got a little bit bored. So when Scarlet came out, I was
Same.
like, I think this is the one. Yeah, this is the one that I'm gonna jump in on. And when I saw all that crap, I'm like, I can't support this, man. And like Nintendo doesn't even want to admit, or rather, the company who makes it, basically working for Nintendo, they don't want to
Game Freak.
admit. Yeah, thank you, Game Freak. They don't want to admit that they made a mistake. They want to, and from my understanding, it's not even fixed still
There's
until this day.
no vision like over there. They lost their vision. Like
What the fuck?
it's terrible what they're doing, man. They're putting out these little iterations every year of Pokemon when they can be doing so much more with it. You know, why not make a
Right.
World of Warcraft type of thing in the
Oh, so
Pokemon
how cool would that
universe?
be?
You
That'd be
know,
cool.
these guys had to pay a subscription. I remember it was like crack for little kids. I was working at Best Buy as loss prevention, and I caught this kid stealing one of those subscription cards for another month or three
For World of
months for
Warcraft.
whatever for World of Warcraft. And he was literally crying, shaking, like, I need this. I need this, you know?
Wow, yeah.
It was
Imagine
addicting,
what
man.
Pokemon would do. Like,
But look at Pokemon.
they
Look what Pokemon Go did. Like Pokemon Go was
took over the
crazy.
planet.
It's
Not
just
only
people
not
running
only
off the
like
road,
us. Yeah, the
people
planet,
falling off of cliffs.
dude. nah,
Yeah, man.
Wow,
I don't like a lot of the practices that are in the system. And what that trial showed was like a sleight of hand. Sony's complaining about this being locked down on their on Microsoft's platform, Call of Duty, yada yada yada. But they locked down everything. It showed in there. They were trying to do backdoor deals to get Microsoft out of there forever. So I mean, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. But
Yeah,
like I said, I'm glad it's over, man. I still
yeah,
love Sony. I love PlayStation. I'm not gonna take anything away from that. They put out good stuff. But the practices, I think for everybody involved should be a little more pro consumer, especially nowadays when there's so much negativity around us. You
right.
know,
yeah.
give us some good stuff for the cheap,
And at
for
the
the
end of the
low.
day, without us, those companies won't survive anyways, right? Because if the gamer is not gaming, the company's not making any money.
Yeah, but it
So
goes back to what Jay was saying because people buy shit anyway. No matter how
yeah,
bad the practice is. I was one of those guys that got excited for the new Pokemon because I thought Arceus was a step in the right direction. But I got bored of it. I didn't beat it. It was a mistake. I went to Scarlet and it was the worst Pokemon game I've ever played in my life. The worst. I would never do that again. You know? And now, like, I'm such a huge DC fan. Like Nightwing is one of my favorite characters in the DC universe. Gotham Knights came out. I can't support that. I'm not buying that. I'm not
I
buying
was
that.
about to throw it. I was just about to throw a jab at you in regards to that. I was going to
No,
say,
man.
Do
isn't
it.
Gotham Knights your favorite game of all times? I was just like,
Yeah.
I was going to
Mistakes
throw a
were
Fake
jab at you.
made.
news. Fake
Fake news,
news.
right? Fake news. CNN
uh,
fake news.
nah, man. I feel like when people don't agree with something, like they just shouldn't buy it. Don't
Yeah.
we don't gotta be all hateful and all of this crazy stuff that goes on Twitter, but just don't buy it, don't support it, and just move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they'll start getting the message. But we're not that organized.
Yeah,
Mankind as a whole is not that organized. So
yeah. If there's money to be made, these companies are going to go out there and get it, and and they don't
yep,
care. I mean, at the end of the day, I understand that for these companies to make these passion projects that they have, sometimes they got to involve these stakeholders and investors and all that stuff. And I know that they have their
Right.
deadlines and all that stuff, but those deadlines can cause like freaking
Yeah.
travesties. Like look at Cyberpunk. People were waiting for that thing forever, and when it comes out, it was just fucking ruined, and they had to go on this campaign, and they had just come off the back of Witcher 3. They could do no wrong, CD Projekt Red, and now they go out and they drop a broken ass game,
Mm-hmm.
just because they wanted to make that money. They wanted to have it on the older consoles, or it was expected that it was to be on those older consoles. And now they spent years fixing it up, and now it's great. But we never should have had that trash to begin with.
Right.
You shouldn't own a
And,
disc that has a jacked up game on it that you need to
and the thing
download
is
something to
because
play it.
I guess the people providing the money, they rush a product. They're not gamers. I believe they're not. They just there for the money. So they provide money to get a return
Businessman.
and whatever. Yeah, exactly. In their investment, and that's why I think a lot of games get rushed. I think if developers actually, if it was up to them, they would take, instead of taking 5 years to make a game, they'll take 7 years to make a game. But they have that pressure from the person who's providing them, the monopoly, right? The money to rush a game and to get it out by a certain time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been the
So
downfall of a lot of stuff. Like,
and then we get crap.
Yeah. And you know what? A good example of this that hits home with me, I loved Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, San Andreas. I I always was like, you know what, man, it'd be great to one day get like an awesome remastered version all together on one disc. And holy shit, they did it. It was coming. It was gonna be incredible. And I was like, man, I can get it for the Switch, and I could just play that game on the go. Because I come back to Grand Theft Auto 3 every now and then. I even have it on my phone, which is like, don't judge me, but I have that with like I've done all the missions, I have all the packages, I have everything. I love that game. And here they go, they give us this game, and it's broken as hell, man. So, not to be all like paranoid, but if one day the servers go down, Sony's gone or Xbox is gone, whatever, and you have that disc and you go and you pop it in and you can't download the updates or whatever, you have a trash game on this disc that's basically worthless, man. It'll probably never happen like that per se. We'll always have ways of fixing it, but they shouldn't be putting out that trash, man. They're trying to dissuade us from buying those physical games, saying, "Well, just get it digital." The download, the updates involved is included and everything like that. You don't need to buy that physical game. It doesn't even have the game on it. And little by little, we'll get away from the physical, and it'll be all digital. And then the sales and the discounts will be gone, and they'll be able to charge whatever they want, like Nintendo, man. Freaking Zelda Breath of the Wild came out, before the Switch came out on the Wii U. That shit is still full ass price, man. And that's the future. The future is that
yeah,
they're
Yeah,
gonna have us,
great
it's gonna
point.
be Netflix, Hulu, and in gaming. So
it's kind of sad.
And that's why I hope the Super Switch stays with the cartridges, and I actually have a physical media. Because
Oh
PlayStation
man,
and Xbox, I download digital all day. I'm not one of those that's like, oh no, we're going digital, the world's ending.
mhm,
It's convenient for
that's
me. I like it. I don't like stacking up hordes of discs anymore. But
mhm.
I do like collecting those little cartridges, bro.
yeah. Listen, I've been playing Sea of Stars on my phone through my Xbox
Oh
Game
man.
Pass. That's been my go to because if I get a chance to play, I'll play it. I'm waiting in my car. I'll play for half an hour. That's my go to. So if you could get a Super Nintendo Switch like that with the app like Game Pass on it like that, and you just be in your car and just go over like a 5G network kind of thing. That'll be awesome too. Um, and you just
I
play it on the
agree.
go. Come on, man. How game changing would that be for Nintendo? Nintendo will skyrocket once again. It'll be the supreme system that it should be, right?
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
I,
man.
Yeah.
like I said, I've gotten away from Nintendo for years. I didn't play. I didn't play the GameCube. The Wii, I played a little bit. The Wii U, never touched it. Um, Game Boy Advance, any of those systems, I never played them because I wasn't a Nintendo guy. Either a Microsoft guy, Xbox guy for many years, and before that, I was a Genesis guy. Of course, I had a Dreamcast as well, which was a great system. But
I was about to
Nintendo,
say, you're throwing that in there like it's something small, dude. I
no,
know
no,
it's
no.
only around for a couple years, but that was a beast.
The
Visual
2K
memory
series,
units, what?
the 2K series on that system was amazing.
I
But
know.
best gaming system, yeah, come on. But yeah, so Nintendo, I'm now back into it again because of my son, like I said, and because Jay plays a lot of Nintendo. So now we all have the family plan together, and we all play the old Genesis games on it, right? Because the old
We're
Genesis,
family.
yeah, with the family plan, you play the Genesis games on it. So hey,
Yeah,
which is great.
super
It is
cool.
awesome, man. But I'm gonna give if the Super Nintendo Switch comes out, I'm definitely gonna grab it. I'm definitely gonna grab it for myself and
I
maybe my
think we
son.
all are.
Yeah, yeah, for
We all
sure. Oh
are.
hell yeah! I'm trying to convince the
Yeah,
wife to let me get a PS5. Let's see how that goes.
yeah. I waited a year for the PS5. I usually wait 1 year with the consoles. I don't know why, but I did. But I think when the Switch comes out, it's gonna have to be a quick upgrade, especially if it's backwards compatible. I'm gonna have all these games that on the backlog that I want to get to. I'd rather play them on if in a way that they're gonna look better. So I'm
Oh,
all
I waited
for it,
6 months
man.
for that damn Xbox Series. I couldn't
Well,
find
put
it
it like
anywhere. 6 months, longest 6 months of my life.
like um
Yeah,
I
man.
ended up getting
Gamblers,
lucky
I
and I
hate you.
got it from Best Buy. I was one of the first ones there. Like I try to get when Xbox drops, I get that day one. I
Yeah,
save up my
yeah.
money. They give plenty of time in advance, and that's where I go.
I couldn't
But
do it.
I also did the same thing for this first Nintendo, like the Switch. I ended up getting a day one, and it was actually I
I
missed the pre-order, but my friend surprised me.
got lucky.
Oh man,
He got lucky.
yeah, he was
I was
awesome.
never able to get my Xbox, man. I waited for months for that damn thing, and I
Well, those
got it off the
scalpers,
scalper.
man, they ruin everything.
But the good thing, the guy who sold it to me was a good guy, so he gave me back
Yeah,
some money
but
for it.
doing
So
that is not a good thing to do in the
oh
first
no no
place.
no no no,
You know,
of course not. But he was decent enough to say I'm not gonna charge.
and green is hard, dude.
It's pretty sick.
Xbox all day.
It's pretty
I
sick.
got my Surface Pro. I got my Surface Pro X that I got from my Microsoft little points, my little what do you call it? Um, the little raffles they do, the rewards for Microsoft.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
They rewarded me with nice Microsoft Pro X, which keeps dropping on me. But whatever.
Oh
What if
boy.
it's the signal, man? The Wi-Fi or something? You blaming it on the hardware?
No, no, no. The Wi-Fi is great. I
Uh,
don't have
Yeah.
Cricket. I have Comcast. Supposed to be good.
Cricket wireless, buddy.
Yeah.
So
Before we go,
yeah,
why
man.
don't y'all
Mhm.
tell everybody what you've been playing?
Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, bro. Sea of Stars, man. The
Game of the year.
unexpected
Game of the year.
game of the year contender, bro. It's
For real,
did not see that
100%.
coming. I saw the art style. I saw that it was coming out free on Game Pass, free on PS Plus. First time any game comes out on both of them, and still manages to sell like crazy, which is great because that game needs
Yeah,
that
it's
kind of
amazing.
support. But I was pleasantly surprised. It's not a very challenging RPG, but it is very, very good, man, and rewarding. And the story's phenomenal.
Right.
And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I play for the story. I play for the story.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed the hell out of it. What are you guys playing?
Sea of Stars, sir. Same as
Hell yeah.
you. Sea of Stars. I've been hooked on that doggone game for months. For about a month now, I think it is. It's been out. I don't know, but I've been
Something
hooked
like
on it.
that.
Forza came out about a week ago, and I started playing that, and I was only able to play like 20, 30 minutes before I had to get back on Sea of Stars because I'm addicted to it.
Oh,
I'm addicted to it. I think it's one of the first RPGs in a long time that I've played this much. That I
Yeah.
absolutely love, and I'm going back doing all the side quests. I'm going back collecting all the stupid rainbow conchs. It's ridiculous. It's taking too much of my time right now. But yeah, Sea of Stars, and also Forza Motorsport, which I'm a big racing guy. I like racing car games.
Yeah. You're our resident arcade guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
yeah.
What about you? Kool
Well, I
Aid.
started Starfield. It came out on my birthday. So I was very excited because I'm a sci-fi dude. Mass Effect. Oh, it hit.
Nice.
It was hitting all the points, and I put it on hold because Jay over here kept hyping up Sea of Stars.
That's the stars.
And when I got into it, it's like,
Right.
oh, I might have to put up Starfield. I need to beat this game. It was one of the most charming, like
Yes.
fun, like
Lighthearted game, right?
positive. Yeah, oh, I love the vibes. It's honestly, I did not expect to like it as much. I beat it. I completed the game. Everything that you can do in that game took me like 50 hours. And I need you guys to beat this game so we could talk about
So
it.
we could talk.
We
Yeah.
need
I'm
to
almost there.
do like a spoiler review discussion thing, like a whole
Yeah.
episode on just that.
Just that.
I love this game. 100% it should be in the game of the year contender.
Right.
Um
Hmm.
with
I
Tears of the
predict that it will
Kingdom,
be.
At least
Starfield.
for an RPG category, it should be like Game of the Year.
It should be
Oh man,
RPG
what
of
a
the
great game.
year, and
Yeah.
it should be in the running for
Studio.
game of the year.
And who's the
If I
studio
don't
runs
see
it?
it there, was that
Who's the studio for
I
Studio
believe it's called
Stars?
Sabotage.
Sabotage. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Sabotage?
don't know.
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah.
known for the Messenger, which is another big deal of a game. I haven't played
Right.
it. It's on the list though. I'm gonna hit that up eventually,
I
hopefully, because
am definitely gonna hit that up after
yeah,
this. Oh, it's going
you know,
down.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Sabotage.
be I'm gonna be honest with you guys and to the world out there. I wasn't really into this whole indie games thing. I was kind of like, I don't know. Like, I want a real game. I want a full game. I want maximum graphics, this and that. But this game has changed my perspective on indie games completely. As a matter of fact, I feel like there might be a future where indie games might be big money makers like these bigger games because as technology advances and everything, it's taking longer to make these high end games. Sprinkle a
Right.
little bit of indie games in between, and now not only are you going to have full years where people are going to have time or games to play, probably not time, but you're also kind of opening the eyes of these newer gamers to our older art style because that right there screams Super Nintendo. That it'd be interesting to see a demake instead of a remake, a demake of that game on Super Nintendo. You'd have to take out a lot because I know that you guys like how you can like climb over things and those little animations that it makes and stuff like that. It's just stuff that
Yeah.
isn't normally in RPGs that made this one just that much more fun. And man, I
Top
can't.
of the writing, the surprises at every corner, the twists and
Yes,
turns, like the emotions that you got,
bro.
and each character brings something special to the table that it's just, man, what a game. Like, as long as Sabotage is around, I'm going to buy their games. Just
You gotta
just
support them.
because I gotta support them. I ended up buying Sea of Stars instead of just playing it on Game Pass. Like I purchased it as soon as I finished. I had
Did
to
you?
do it.
Oh
Wow,
wow.
Yeah.
that's
And
awesome.
So that's
Messenger
a big
is
thing
gonna
about
be another thing.
and that's
I
a
have
big
to
thing about
dip in.
Microsoft too. Microsoft is a big proponent on indie games, man. They've had the ID at box like program for quite a while now, and they
Amazing.
put out a lot of indie games, a lot of and they give these little small companies, man, a little a chance to shine in those games. So I think that's
Yeah, man.
one of the greatest things about Microsoft as well. That's why I love Phil Spencer, man. It's for the gamer. I keep telling you guys that guy's for the gamers, and he gives small companies a chance to shine in the ID a box program that they have.
No, what separates him, in my opinion, is that he's one of us. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
100%.
I mean, he wears a different hat now that he's the head of Microsoft Xbox division, but he's a gamer at heart. He knows, he understands what we go through. He understands, what we want. He actually plays this shit. So him doing all of this pro consumer stuff is just, and I understand
Yeah,
it's a
it's
business
great.
at the end of the day. But
Yeah,
the pivot that they took, they're in third place, last place, if you want to call it, you know. And
Placement doesn't matter to me, man. I still love the system.
Yeah, but that's what competition breeds. We wouldn't have
Yeah.
Game Pass if there was no competition.
Right. No, I understand. I see what no,
And there's
now
so many
PlayStation's going
little
over there.
fun Xbox games on here. Like Death's Door is another indie game that I purchased. I actually one of my favorite podcasts is you guys know is Iron Lord's podcast,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they
yeah.
ended up giving me a $20 gift card for Xbox. Like I won it
Really?
just supporting them, being a subscriber. They ended up
What?
giving me a Game Pass. I actually won it
That's sweet.
twice off of them. And every
Really?
month they give it away, and I ended up buying Death's Door, and I have not gotten to it, but that game looks awesome, man, awesome. And I've heard nothing but great things. And after playing Sea of Stars, I'm gonna make these indie games a priority. Like
Same,
Jay
man.
hit it
Yo,
on the nose,
Yeah, bro.
on the
oh, and
nose.
it's a multiple systems too, so
I
that's
couldn't
great.
agree
Some
more.
it's on Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox. So it's on
Yeah,
multiple systems. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great.
hopefully they don't all take
I'll get-
50 hours to beat, but if
Hey,
we can,
look, man, I got Starfield the day it came out. Before that came out, I bought the early release. I paid a $30 to get the early release, like 5 days prior. And the moment Sea of Stars came out and we started playing, because remember I told you guys about it when they had that showcase. Remember?
yeah,
And they were releasing the demo. I said, man, you guys check this out. And then all of a sudden, the demo was a little underwhelming. It wasn't that great. I it kind of threw me off of it. But when I got into the game itself, when it finally came out, man, what an amazing game! I haven't played Starfield. I got like maybe 10 hours of Starfield because it was all dedicated to Sea of Stars. I
as
should
much
be
as
in like,
as much as I want Starfield to succeed and you guys to enjoy that game because I know you were very excited for it, I loved to see that because I was like, damn, I knew this game was good, but it pulled them away from Starfield. Damn, this is
yeah,
serious.
100%. Even Mortal Kombat One. I'm a big Mortal Kombat One because I'm a first person shooter gamer. I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter gamer, and I like racing games and sports games. But man, this little RPG game has taken me away from everything right now.
Yeah,
To the
man.
yeah.
point now I'm at work playing it. My boss blinks and I'm like playing Sea of Stars, trying to find
Hell
another
yeah.
comp.
I wish I could pull that
This
off.
was my Sea of Stars machine right here, man. I played it on the
Nice,
go
the Rogue
everywhere.
Ally.
Me
Every
too.
chance
The
I
Rogue
got, I
Ally.
turned that thing on, even if it was for like half an hour. I tried to get it in. But
Nice, nice.
to be fair, I mean Starfield does have a super slow start to the game, you know.
Right.
And I ended up doing a bunch of side like one of my it's a blessing and a curse is that I need to cover every inch of every level of every to see
Jeez,
whatever
guy.
treasure I get. Like I need to cover. I'm like a completionist, and that's what stresses me out the most. Starfield is a humongous game. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I will get back to it. But after Sea of Stars, man, I need to hit up Spider Man, and then
Yeah.
Starfield's gonna be my jam.
Yeah, man. There's so much out there, so much stuff to play. And if anybody's out there who
Sorry, guys.
is having a hard time finding time to play games, we feel you. We are you. Life happens, so you don't get to play everything you want to play and complete everything you want to complete. But we're gonna try,
It
damn it.
is it is hard with full careers and families. It's pretty hard, but hey, we still get
Yes.
it in there. Should get it in
Demanding
there. We
careers at that. Yeah.
get... yeah, right.
Yeah. So,
Jesus.
but we're, and now there's multiple ways of kind of, there were many times that I've watched games on Twitch that I just knew I wasn't going to get a chance to play. So I let
Yeah.
it ride and kind of absorb a little bit of it and then move on. So
Yep.
I wish that you guys would get to try Last of Us 2 and God of War
Oh,
Ragnarok.
I'm
And
dying. I'm
it
dying.
hurts my heart a little bit that I don't know if you guys will ever play them because it's just such incredible experiences. But in reality, there's a lot out there. There's a lot going on, and it's coming fast. And 2023 has been a ridiculous year for games, man. It just doesn't
Oh
make
And
yeah.
it's
sense.
more to come before the end of the year too, man. So
Yeah. Mario
because the holiday
RPG,
season.
what's up?
Oh, can't wait. Can't
That's gonna be
wait.
so sick. I played that game. I was um, sailing the seven seas, and I got to play that shit. And I was like, I don't know, man. There's just something too unfinished about it or whatever. And I saw the remake, and I was like, I don't know who summoned this game, but thank you, because I'm gonna enjoy the hell out of it.
But they still didn't put Luigi in, which is garbage.
No, no. I
No.
mean, they're probably just trying to stay true to the story, just boosting the
Yeah, I know.
graphics
But
and all that stuff.
They
So,
add an extra
better
character.
add Luigi in there. He's the greatest
Yeah.
fucking.
I-
That guy
I
would
know you
stomp
told me that in
Mario.
yeah, literally Super Mario 3 right in the beginning, right? Just kill Mario right off the bat. Get
I
him out of
used to
here.
just murk Mario straight off rip, and then I play the rest of the game with Luigi. It was amazing. Best Mario to this day.
yeah.
I want to see that
Bro.
remaster.
Yeah. Human Mario in Mario 3 world. Yeah, man. Well,
Wow.
I think we've gone on for a good bit. I think we should leave it right here for now. For those who don't know, we're gonna try to do this bi-weekly. Hopefully, every other week we'll have an episode for you guys. We'll be talking about new topics, things that are going on in gaming. It seems like there's a ton of news these days, and maybe you hear it, maybe you don't, and you can enjoy your time with us, and learn about what's going on out there and get hype about some good stuff that's coming our way. You will link the socials at the bottom and everything. You can follow us around, and hopefully, we could even squeeze in some live streams in there, here and there. So,
Right.
if you like what you heard, you know what to do. Hit the like, hit the sub, and all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Shout out to the hot dog cart.
Start of something dope, man.